audio. Son of a gun. Hilarious. I've been hilarious again. I've had a morning of technological upset. Oh, okay. Here we go. I hope the meditation worked for you. All right. So we're going to start again. Yee. All right. Here we go. Because I'm using a teleprompter, I can read the same thing I wrote. Okay. Here we go. Peace. And welcome to the hilarious Not Church, a home for humorous mystics, seekers, the spiritual, and the not religious. Not Church is not a comedy special, but it is a weekly mystical exploration with a Christian accent, mostly through the Bible, both beloved and reviled. Deconstruction, decolonization, mysticism, infusion of the living divine, peace and joy flowing within us, between us, and above us. The one is us, and the one is infinitely more than us, in us, with us, and among us, more than us. Welcome. This week, by request, did Jesus teach torture? Many Christians sure think he did. But did he? Let's begin again with peace within us, among us. First, let's start by chanting 3 ohms, pulling tight our abdomens and our butts as we exhale and drive our prana up, being sure with the vibrating of the sound, with resonance in your heart chakra, throat, oh, third eye, release your muscles on your in-breath and allow the prana to flow down like water. And after our 3 ohms, we're going to go inward and we're going to aim at our hearts, our minds, our breath at heaven in centering prayer or your meditation style. Chant your prayer on your breath. Don't grasp it. Ride it. And if your prayer falls away, ride your breath. All to the better. If your breath falls away, sit inside the silence thoughtlessly. On our out-breath, if you can, on the out-breath of your meditation, gently, thoughtlessly, gently push your energy out of your hands and your chakras. Aim for the one that works for you. I always go here first. I go to my palms. I push out of my heart. I just did that a minute ago. I don't have any idea if you all were, as you were laughing in the stream, because I had so many tech issues, it was funny. I don't know if you felt that or not. If you did, join me and let's do it together. All right. So if you're a beginner, you can always check the link below later for instructions on how centering prayer works. Let's start again. Okay, everyone. Here we go. Meditation, aiming your inner eye. Today, did Jesus teach torture? It's pretty clear that Jesus taught that one of two things happened to people after death. If you lived a selfless life of love or goodness, then you got eternal life. If you lived a life of selfishness, badness, or evil, you got annihilated almost instantly, not tortured eternally. Are you surprised about that? Didn't Jesus teach about eternal hell? What about tossing all those souls into Gehenna for you Bible scholars out there? Gehenna was a topographical feature outside of Jerusalem, also called the Valley of Hinnom. Pre-Judaism, it was a vile place of child sacrifice and fire. Gehenna was a hated place. It was shameful for a dead body to be tossed there because it meant no decent burial. Dead bodies don't feel torment. It was a burning rubbish heap in the time of Jesus, and it became known as an accursed place of destruction. No one wanted their body thrown onto a burning rubbish heap. But did he use it as a metaphor for eternal torment? Well, did he? No. In the 13th chapter of the Gospel of Matthew, we find the answer. Just as the weeds of what he thought, the answer of what Jesus thought, or what the gospel writer thought that Jesus thought. Just thought I'd say that. Just as the weeds are sorted out and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of the world. Okay, we got to stop there and look at this for a second. End of the world. So apparently Jesus was an apocalyptic, a person who believed that the world would come to an end soon in his lifetime or shortly thereafter. Paul believed the same thing. And so down the generations. But was he really talking about the end of the world, the universe of time and space, the 13 billion light years from beginning to end? I don't think so. I think he was talking about your world ending at death, which is what happens. My world ended at death. My connection to the world, my experience of the world, my brain, my body, it all ended at death. I just want to say that because everybody's world ends. Everybody's world is inside their heads. It's your experience of your senses and the language you use to think. All that comes to an end when you have no brain. Your world ends. And that's what happened to me anyway. My experience of the world ended the moment I died. Okay, so enough about Gehenna. But what about the fire in the weeds? Like a lot of houses in the country, we have a fire pit out back. You can't see it from here, but it's right out there where we sometimes have evening campfires with friends. Once in a while, some kid will pull up a bunch of weeds, of live green weeds, and toss them on the fire where they sizzle and sometimes weep water for a minute or so until they turn to ash. Burning weeds, said Jesus, isn't eternal, just obliteration, annihilation, the end of your identity, existence, the end of your existence. Not so bad. Not so bad. Not so bad for those who fear eternal hell. That's better than eternal torment now, isn't it? It's quickly over and you are no more, taught Jesus. There it is. No torture, no eternal torment, just nothing. The end with a little n, I think. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's a capital N. Maybe it's a little n. We're going to find out. The end of the experience is the end of self, awareness, the false self, even in this context of the soul self. The soul self can be killed? Wait till you find out what I have to say next. Or as Jesus put it somewhere else, beware the one who can kill the soul. In this scenario, when I died, and I want to say this for all of those Christians out there who were wondering whether I was a born again Christian when I died and I didn't see Jesus, yes, I was a born again Christian, although albeit a pretty seriously backsliding hippie. I was the weed tossed on the fire. Only my soul did not die. My soul was not obliterated. In me, all the deeper weeds were burned to ash, and the fire of purgative love, the fire, the divine fire of purgative love, of annihilation. And then I was shown brighter than the sun, then I shone. I was shining brighter than the sun in the presence of the all light. My salvation was after death through the self evident love of the Holy of Holies, self revealed, capital S, love themselves, herself, the isness, the nowness, the monad, the oneness, Allah, saved me from my false self. Hey, did you know that the word Allah is used in Israel now for those Arabic speakers who are Christian? They say the word Allah because that's the word for God. The isness saved me from my false self. More like revealed the truth of me to my lower me. And my lower me was annihilated. Now, another kind of annihilation might be what if, in the presence of the fullness of love, instead of accepting the evident overwhelm of love itself, if rejecting God, what if I had rejected God? What then? What if I had rejected God when I was dead? What if the misdeeds, bad deeds, evil deeds, cruelties, meanness, jealousies, angers, and hatreds that I carried in my 21-year-old heart, like everybody does, had overwhelmed to varying degrees, okay? True. Had overwhelmed the love inside of me. If I had not turned to the divine, if I had not accepted the self evident, overwhelming love, would I have suffered the fate Jesus proclaimed? Annihilation, the end of being itself. No self consciousness as a soul. So, is the end of self all that bad? How would you know it was bad? You wouldn't, because you wouldn't be there to experience it. Annihilation, in this sense, is the end of identity, even soul identity. Beware the one who can kill the soul. Could a rejection of mercy, love, light, and forgiveness have annihilated even my consciousness? The overwhelming infinite presence of the divine self evident love overcame all of my weediness. It was impossible to reject love that powerful for me. Is it impossible for others? I went through a temporary self torture, because I had tortured myself my whole life and I didn't know it. I had accepted all of the karma. There's my Boston Maine accent coming out. The karma, but it was ultimately, it was cleansing. And it led to freedom. But maybe some of us like the idea of torture for those who have hurt us deeply, for those people we judge as worthy of our hatred. Here's a cruel question for you that you might answer in the comments. Given a choice just between eternal torment or annihilation, which would you choose for yourself and why? Second question, given the choice to condemn an evildoer, say Pol Pot or Adolf Hitler, or your abuser, or slave owner, or rapist, or murderer of your child, to annihilation or eternal torture, which would you choose? assuming eternal life couldn't be possible in that case, either for you or for the one you judge. Which would you choose, annihilation or eternal torture? I know which one I'd choose. In Matthew 13, Jesus talks about annihilation, not torture. But there is another type of annihilation, and I alluded to this earlier, and I want to talk about this. When I was in a state of union in heaven, it felt to me that if just one more, and I'm throwing in a fancy word, a hadrian, just because I like the word and I finally figured out what it meant. If if one more hadrian, which could be a proton or a neutron, protons and neutrons are both hadrians, if one more hadrian had come inside of me when I was dead, one mm, proton manifested, if one more had manifested inside of me, I had expanded, my soul had expanded so far that I felt like I was like a balloon at the edge, the shaking edge of, I would have obliterated, folded back in to the divine, been annihilated, full union, the end of my separation and my self identity, and become fully reabsorbed back into the unlimitedness, fully reabsorbed, full self annihilation. I know that's scary for some people. Why is the loss of self identity so scary? If a weed is bad in your garden, if a weed is bad in my garden, what happens to it? It gets recycled. Whatever wood or weed gets burned in the campfire out back, the fire, gets then I shovel it into the compost pile, which is right next to it almost. I turn it over, I cook it a little more with the other weeds and table scraps, and then I add it back to the vegetable garden to grow food, to become something new, good, and useful. What of the people like me who went through a near death experience of hell? Well, some like me passed through and turned to the light in imposed humility by the immensity of the divine and the amount of love, and then were raised, lifted, and saved from our hell. Some hellish NDEers get sent back or they're pulled back here by healthcare workers before that can happen. Perhaps they didn't stay dead long enough to go through the cleansing fire, to feel the pull of love. I know plenty of NDEers who've been pulled out. My experience did not include eternal torture or torment. My experience did include cleansing and the radiance brighter than the sun when I saw with my naked soul eyes myself that did not burn, that did not cause tears, only joy of welcome. My selfishness was burned away. My badness was burned away. The selfishness, the badness, while it was my choice in life, and so it attached to me, I attached it to me, was superseded by, these are all capital letters, truth, that love, mercy, charity, and forgiveness would, and has always wins in the end. Love always wins. Isn't that what recycling is like? That goodness always comes from the compost? Even on the forest floor, the dying spruce tree and the duff of needles grows in the wet times. Fungus. Fungus comes from this, from that dying. This circle of annihilation folds us back into the oneness of being. And Jesus taught that annihilation happens, not eternal torture. The church, of course, some churches, of course, teach eternal torture. The gardener so loved the garden that he pulled up the weeds, tossed them into the hot compost pile where the bacteria ate them, turning them into a rich soil to be returned to the garden before the following planting season, and pitchforked into the good, enriched soil to grow another year. Take a look at Matthew chapter 13. There's a whole bunch of these little things about annihilation, and read it with new eyes. Now, you've heard me speak about my Kundalini awakening. Sometimes I say it's the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. It's the language thing. In which, and I'm going to a little review, I'm sorry, in which, while alive, but I was on the side of the road while attending a car wreck victim. During that time, I was illuminated repeatedly by grace, impulses of self obliterating, annihilating light, stronger than a series of lightning bolts. Whenever I'm carried into the fullness of the union, whenever you're in the silence in your meditation, where language falls away, where you sit thoughtlessly, you vanish. When I'm in the fullness, when I've been carried into the fullness of the union, I vanish. I am no more. I, Peter, cannot even be in the experience. You can't be there. That's true of mystics all down through the centuries. They can't be in their experience, which is why they use metaphor when they talk about it, because there ain't no other way. I, my soul, cannot be in the experience. Neither can you in your meditation. Limitedness, duality ends. Separation ends. There's no more outside or inside. There's no more enlightened or not enlightened. There's no more heaven or not heaven. No more annihilation or eternal life. There is only oneness. No self, no identity, just one light. Fear, not annihilation. Fear not annihilation. Instead, go fishing to catch good fish to keep. Also in chapter 13, Matthew. Plant a garden and burn the weeds. Sometimes I'm the weed. Sometimes I'm the plant of goodness, the vegetable. Most times I can be both. This dualism ends when I die. And in the meanwhile, I aim my heart at love, at heaven above all things, making my eye one, filling my body with light. The more light I carry within me, the easier it will be for me to find my way home. The more the light I have within me, the bigger and stronger fish I become. The deeper and further I swim into heaven here and when I die. I expect a return trip that includes passing through the angel's fiery sword at the gate of heaven. Hell, it's motivated my life. Heightened empathy makes me feel the pain and suffering I cause in the world. And it's quite the motivator. I still cause pain. But knowledge of wanting to lessen my burden as I go through the gate, knowledge of wanting to increase the divine presence inside of me here, now, and to share this love, it's goodness itself. And it's inside of all of us. And you touch it when you touch the silence at other times too. And gladly, if it's my fate, I'll pass through that fiery sword into the radiance beyond expression. And you can too. Jesus died and rose like an NDEer to proclaim the truth of everlasting salvation for all, waiting for us in one way or another, eternal life or recycling, and then eternal life. No one is lost. Nothing is lost. It's a closed system. The infinite is a closed system, which is paradoxical to say, isn't it? A reverend wrote to me trying to bait me into a theological debate about the necessity of eternal torment and the torture as a motivator for basic good behavior. And he has a point. Why be good without the threat of afterlife punishment? What's your answer to that question? Why be good without the threat of afterlife punishment? And I'm going to end today with verses from Rumi. And thanks for sticking with me, folks. This is from a selection of verses from a poem by Rumi. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill, where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. If this episode of Not Church challenged you, inspired you, validated you, or gave you hope or understanding, toss a few coins into my hat at peterpanagore.love. And look for the spinning heart. It's a spinning red heart. And I'm available by appointment at peterpanagore.love. Please subscribe and like this channel and check out my other Not Church videos to deepen your deconstruction, to help decolonize your mind, and most importantly, to open your mind and your heart to the living flow of the presence among us. And maybe you felt that here today. If you ever feel or experience that living light, that isness, flow between us at Not Church, or because of Not Church, or at our weekly centering prayer practices, let me know. Say so in the comments. I need to know if this is working. The more it feels like it to me, but I need to know. The more of us who meditate together, the more flow there is among us. So thanks for watching and for being here. Be sure to join us for Mystic Tea Salon at the top of the hour to continue our year-long conversation on your mystical experiences. You can find the new Zoom link below. Oh my gosh, I didn't put it in. I'm going to have to take a second here and put it there this morning. See, I had a crazy morning. I'm better prepared for the Zoom bombers. All right, I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna do that now. So you guys chat among yourselves for a moment while I make sure that this is where it needs to be. And maybe that was a good plan of mine. Plan. What I mean is maybe it was a good mistake, or maybe it was a good divine intervention. Copy. All right, it's going to go in here. I'm going to put it right to content. You're getting an inside audio tour of how YouTube works on the back end. Yes, I did not put it in there. And my friends, like magic. It's not magic, it's technology. There it is. Okay. And I'm back. Thank you very much for indulging my difficulties this morning. Let's see if I can change my screen so I can see that a little bit better. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate that very much. Let's see where we are. Let's see. Hey, thanks, Catherine, for being a ace moderator for this channel. Thank you very much. I see that you made the difficult choice today. Thank you. Brooke, my fave, imposed humility, born again, backsliding, hippie, mystical, truth knowing, NDE brother, preach on, and self revealed oneness. All of me loves and honors all the parts of you beyond Same to you, soul sister. Oh, thank you. That was, as always, you're just astounding. You're writing your heart. Nancy, thank you very much, Nancy, for the super chat. Oh, hey, thanks, Catlite. Now I'm curious. What was T Money Picks talking about? Um, Vic, yes, Peter, I love Not Church and Mystic Tea. It adds great value to my life. Love you. Oh, thank you for saying that, Vic. I need a drink of water. Betty Allen, Annihilation is the ultimate getting out of the way. Oh, yeah, exactly. 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 Strip down, strip down, strip down to nothing exists but the divine self. What else could there be? And with that self annihilation comes self revelation with a capital S. It's pretty cool. To block at right of persons. Oh, good. Thank you for Claire jumping in there to help too. Marnie, people are making the Bible make sense for Peter. You're, oh, people are. I should take my glasses off because the teleprompter is closer than the screen is. Marnie, Peter, you're making the Bible make sense for me. I didn't like it because I felt man, right there, was controlling, right there, us through it. But there's good in it if you see within it. There is good in it. There is good in it, and there's truth in it from Jesus. Even though all of that stuff is written by all these other people decades and centuries later, we can process. I think the thing is, Marnie, is that after near death experience gave me a new way of reading it. I see Jesus. I see the beginning of Ezekiel. I see Paul, even for all his troubles. I can see their mysticism. I see their divine connection. And I have enough of a scientific mind and analytical processing kind of a guy, and understand historical critical analysis and all that theological stuff, um, to keep it in context, but also to separate it out. I pull stuff out for sure. But thank you, Marnie. I'm doing my best. This is all an experiment, and I'm glad you're here. Thanks for saying so. I love Jesus, but had to leave the religion because I couldn't handle the hell, the demons, and the hate from peeps like the guy who got blocked. Oh, Elaine. Yeah, thank you. I thank you, Catherine. I think, thank you, Elaine. Thank you, whoever else that was who was assisting Catherine. I think that I'm going to become a target. I'm on chat. I'm already a target on comments, but um, so thanks. That's all. Thank you. Um, and oh yeah, you get targeted by association. So I'll tell you something though. I wanted to be reunited with my dead puppy dog, so I don't want annihilation. I want eternal life. So, Elaine, I don't think it's. I think where I went. I think what we're talking about is ultimate annihilation. I think that there's near-death experiencers who have been to a variety of places in a variety of, I'll call them astral forms, but they're not connected to the body at that point. So there's something somehow a little different. Um, they go to Eden-like places. They've been to other heavens. Some have even been to other planets. So I don't think you have to worry about that. I'm talking about ultimate things here. I think that lots of people get reunited with love, and then they get recycled back here. They get to see their puppies, and they get recycled back, or they recycle themselves back. Maybe not to Earth, but somewhere, um, or not. I mean, I think I don't know about that. Outside my experience, Sue, fire is a purifier. Oh, that's just fire is a purifier. Wow, I love that sentence. Fire is a purifier, an image to help us see what happens with love. Yeah, that's true on Earth, isn't it? Yeah, it's a purifier. Well said. Fire is a purifier. There are evil spirits that roam the earth. They aren't burning in hell anywhere, nor are they annihilated. Well, that's good news. Yeah, but light dispels them. They can't stand the light. And if you don't invite them in, they can't get in. And how do you not invite them in? You aim at the oneness. That's the safest spot there is. At least they can't get inside you anyway. John Loftus, that's the thing. Is it a metaphor or a real thing? Ooh, I think it's in a way a metaphor, John. It's a metaphor because everything on the other side of the veil is metaphor. There's no way to talk about it that's not metaphor. So yes, even what Jesus was saying, even what I was saying this morning, every single time I open my mouth about this, it's always metaphor. It's never the thing itself, which is the reason why I try to create not church as a place of the flow of prana or chi or the Holy Spirit or whatever you want to call this life force energy, because that's where the message actually is the being of God here. And as for the rest of it, we're all going to find that stuff out when we die, won't we? Because, everyone who comes back from the dead only has limited wisdom. Everyone who has a mystical experience only has limited wisdom. There's only that. So we're going to find out, John. Both, yes. That's a yes. Is that a metaphor or a real thing? It's a yes. Vince, being a target means you're doing something right. Shake the tree, brother. I'm shaking it. I'm shaking. Hey, I saw this crazy video the other day, and I wish I could pop it up here. It was this, I think it was an olive tree. It was this big machine. It came over and it grabbed the bottom of the tree and it vibrated the tree so fast that all of the olives fell off the tree. Well, I hope it didn't hurt the tree, but wow, shook it up. Elaine, get a good translation, John. Like the concordant literal translation, hell is a mistranslation of about 5 words, and forever just means eons, a length of time. Thank you, Elaine. Yes, that's right. Thank you. You can find that online. Go to Bible Gateway, even, or Bible Hub. Bible Hub has parallels and lexicon. Lexicon is the Koine Greek, word by word. Understanding that those words are then translated, and anyway, it's complicated, but get a good translation. Thank you, Sir Luke, for the super chat. First timer. Hey, glad you're here. Thanks for coming. Let's see, smiling at Cat, Claire. I fear total annihilation, loss of consciousness, which I see as a massive gift. I would become partial annihilation. I love your brain, Kristen. You are wow. You are that's really beautifully said. It's how, huh. You always make me think. It's amazing every single time. You are. I so enjoy your brain. Um, Your NDE allows me to benefit without having that as a personal experience. Thank you for sharing your experience because I feel your words and truth within them. No coincidence. I just found you. Hey, Marnie. Yeah, may God bless your journey. May God be with you on your journey now and forever. And I'll be here as long as I can be. Brother Ed Salisbury, attunement is a fundamental part of teachings and practices of the emissaries of light, my seminary of great recent rewards. Peace. Yeah, that's right. Attunement. That's what we're talking about. Attunement. Good word. I do not want to come back here to this pit of pain and despair. Yeah, I'm with you, Elaine. Count me in on that. Unless I either have to come back or it's helpful for me to come back. Otherwise, I'd like to be done. Thank you. Here, anyway. When I first realized that Jesus spoke about finding truth, about who or what our identity is, I became troubled, but after I became amazed with no fear. Nice. Agreed, says John. Jim, divine annihilation is love. Reminds me of the Paramahansa Yogananda. Thou and I never apart. Wave of the sea. Dissolve in the sea. I am the bubble. Make me the sea. I am the bubble. Make me the sea. I have not read that, and it's beautiful. I'm going to grab that into my copy and paste. Wow. I am the bubble. Wait a minute. Maybe that does sound familiar. I think that sounds familiar. Suddenly a flash of remembrance. The bubble in the sea. Elaine, evil spirits come from people. Think of team spirit when you're at a ball game. Spirits come from people. True. Love, thanks for your comment, Elaine. Thanks for the honesty in NDE, still being limited wisdom. Good talk. Thanks, Claire. I know that I don't know. Or as Donald Rumsfeld said, something like, there are knowns and unknowns and unknown unknowns. And for me, there are more unknown, there are knowns, known unknowns, and unknown unknowns. That's true for me. Mostly unknown unknowns. What did Jesus mean by in my Father's house there are many mansions? Lots of levels of heaven, Kat. And I can talk about that. Actually, maybe I'll talk about that next week. That's a good idea. I don't think I had anything planned, and I can't find any paper. There's the back of an envelope, and then one of my many pencils. Many mansions, many mansions. Maybe I'll talk about that next week. What did Jesus mean? I have an answer for that, actually, because of what I experienced. JC mean? Question mark. Okay. So basically, many levels of heaven. And Emanuel Swedenborg is a mystic who might help illuminate that for you some. Levels of heaven, or levels of worlds, or multiverses sort of thing. But maybe I'll talk about that next week. I'll talk a little bit about it now as I'm thinking about it. Near-death experiences, we all go to different mansions. We all go to different rooms. Our rooms are all sort of in the same big house, but they're all sort of different. They're all like my childhood bedroom and your childhood bedroom were different, but they're both in houses. Sort of like that. But more than that, there are other levels. Where are we? Literal is good on Bible Gateway. First timer also. Hi, am Drew. Hi, Drew. I am Drew. Welcome. I hope what you like here. I hope you find what you like here. And this is the reason that I write scripts. Okay, this is the reason why I write scripts. Can't always trust that tongue. ADHD rather. About your puppy, I miss my bundle of unconditional love too. That is dogs are the embodiment of love. Brooke, cheers, Marnie. No NDEs necessary. Marnie's right. I mean, Brooke is right. No NDEs necessary. That's the whole point of gathering here together in this particular place at Not Church, because the divine presence is inside of everyone, and we can all experience it. And there are many. NDE is a type of mystic, but there are many kinds of mystics, and there are many kinds of mystics here. People have experienced the divine and don't know how to talk about it, and feel that there was a gift left behind, and wish they would have it again. Or people who want that, or who have some sort of outgrowth of a lifelong of mystical experiences that are cumulatively large, but each one might be small. You don't need an NDE to experience the divine here. We can experience it together. Heaven here now. And there, which is another thing Jesus talked about. What time is it? I've only got a couple minutes left, so I'm going to get going in a minute or so. Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss, everybody. Even people losing a pet is hard. It hurts. It hurts for a long time. Heck, I got my dog buried out in the front yard. One of my dogs, anyway. Many mansions is my fave Bible verse, Annie. Is knowledge useless unless transformed into personal wisdom? Ooh, what a great question. Is knowledge useless unless transformed into personal wisdom? That's a great question. I can give you a brief answer. True wisdom that comes from mystical experience has practical application in life. And you might never be able to articulate it. You will never be able to articulate it accurately. Nobody can. You'll never be able to put your finger on it. It's like a watermelon seed. It can sit in your palm, but as soon as you grasp it, it shoots away. So yes, knowledge is useless unless it's transformed into personal wisdom. But it is transformed into personal wisdom. But then the question is, what is knowledge? What kind of knowledge are we talking about? Head knowledge or unknowing, noetic knowledge? I'll make a video about that, a little video. I think you might know where my answer lies. Head knowledge is hopeful, and combined with mystical knowledge, it becomes practically useful. But if you have mystical knowledge, it is wisdom inside you, waiting for practical application in your daily life by living through the lens of that experience. Great question, Marnie. I got to go. I don't want to go, but I got to go. So, my first time here. Hi, Kelly. You're welcome. I'm glad that you found us. You're seeking spiritually again after years of being a miserable fundamentalist. I'm going to try to help fundamentalists. I'm going to try to help. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about decolonizing and deconstructing. Tell your friends and let me know if this works. This is an experiment, Kelly, and welcome. I'm glad you're here. It's an ongoing experiment. Wisdom comes from the Holy Spirit. That's what I'm talking about. The Holy Spirit is the giver of mystical experiences. Anyway, I got to go. Link for Mystic Tea Salon is actually below. And thanks for hanging out in the beginning when I stumbled through that tech land of trouble. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for listening. I appreciate all of you. Peace and love to you all. Peace and love to you all. I will see you all. Oh, and Tiffany, I'm glad you're here too. You found me on Jeff Mara. Good. Jeff Mara's show. I just did a show with Jeff on the UFO that I chased in 1977, years before my NDE, with a bunch of buddies in the car. Anyway, so Jeff Mara's a great guy. Peace and love, everybody. Thanks for being here, Tiffany. Sophia is wisdom. Final word. Sophia is wisdom. Peace and love. See you soon. Mystic Tea Salon.